Hello everyone, I'm back again to start a new journey, this time a Python journey. So how did it start off? What was the dream? Well, this 9 weeks I wasn't really expecting anything. I'd been learning about ethical hacking for the first 9 weeks, but I wanted to do something different this 9 weeks. I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I knew that I wanted to work on something that was familiar yet new, which left me with only a few options. So I opted for learning Python. I knew that Python was a coding language like Java, which is a language that I already knew, and that it wasn't as strict as Java, meaning that the syntax, structure, and a few other things were different. I wasn't really expecting anything when I started this course, but then the instructor gave a preview of everything we'd get to do during the course, and I got excited. I was going to make different programs that could do different things like track and report things to me, and several games that seemed rather interesting. So after that, I was actually pretty excited to start learning. The reality, how'd it go? Well, at first it was kind of boring because the coding was really similar to Java, but I had to get through it because I knew that it's still a different language, so I have to get used to it, have to know how it works, and it's similar, but it's still different. And I knew that I had to learn more advanced commands and functions and modules and just different code through the really cool projects that the instructor talked about, but I was still disappointed that I was making more basic programs, but that's just me being impatient. But these 90 weeks, I did learn about functions, lists, loops. I relearned my ifs, randomization, which is different in Python. And using that, I was able to make programs like a treasure hunting choice game, Hangman, a love calculator, the Caesar cipher, and even a simple calculator, a band name generator, and a few other things. Hopefully, I'll learn more next semester and be able to make the programs I heard about that I really want to make. Oh, but before we get to that, this is Replit. It's a browser-based uh, place to code, I suppose. These are all my repos, as they're called here. See, there are different days we worked on stuff. Rock, paper, scissors. But the most interesting program that I've made so far on Replit is the Caesar cipher. Here, this is a function. Yes, this is a function that uses start text, that's a string, shift amount, an integer, and cipher direction, another string, all of which are chosen, or inputted, my bad, here, direction. Here you would see if you want to encode something or decode something. Here you input your message and how much you're shifting something by. If you don't know the Caesar cipher, you basically just take a message and you shift whatever letter of the alphabet is there a certain place. And you do that for every letter in the message. And then when you want to decode it, you just shift it back the same amount that you used to encode it. So let me bring that up. Oh, this here is a list, and it's filled with all the letters of the alphabet twice, which I'll explain that in just a second. So let's try this here. Encode. Type your message. Hello world. Shift number. Let's say shift it 5 times. And your encoded result is MJQQT And then you can type yes or no if you want to go again. I'll type yes. Encode, decode. Let's decode this time. Yes, that's how I spell. And your message, we can just copy and paste. We use the same shift number, and there you go, hello world. Then just click no, and it exits the program. Here, this definition is what actually does everything. Your end text is what's actually being printed out, as seen here. Your cipher direction is whether you're encoding or decoding. And here is where you're actually calculating the new position that your letters, my bad, are going to be in terms of the alphabet. And the reason that this is doubled is because if you have a Z and you want to shift it 5 times, then to get an A, you need to keep going forward. That's not the way I had originally created that code, but the instructor did it that way, so I decided to follow along. And this is a while loop that just redoes everything here. And you don't need to put this in the while loop because that's just a function, and the function is called here. This is the only part that needs to be, well, redone. This is coding rooms, where the instructor had us do our assignments, such as password generators, calculating area, prime numbers, treasure map, rock, paper, scissors, treasure island. It's an interesting choice game. It's not as advanced as Caesar Cipher. It doesn't use the same commands, it doesn't use functions, it doesn't use loops, it's just ifs. It's mostly text and prints, or texts and ifs, my bad. Let's try it out real quick. As you can see, it prints out a little treasure chest, and then it asks you, do you want to travel left or right? Let's go right. You arrive at a lake and you can see an island in the middle. Type wait if you want to wait for a boat, or swim to swim out there now. Let's say we're adventurous. You got overeager and eaten by guppies. Oof. Try it again. This time we're going to wait. Now there's 3 doors, red, yellow, and blue. Let's run this real quick. Congrats, you've made many wise choices. A simple program, but an interesting game. And yeah, for the sake of time, that's all I can show you right now. The hurdles, what challenges I faced. This 9 weeks, I was lucky enough not to have many challenges that I had to deal with. Mostly, it was pretty easy because I already had my past knowledge of Java, and the instructor was a pretty good instructor. It's online, but in a way, they were with you every step of the way. The only real confusing part that I came to was my for loops, which were rather confusing because for loops in Python are very similar to for each loops in Java. So I already knew about the for each loops, and then learning about for loops in Python kind of threw me off, but I got it in the end. And that was basically it. As for the future, last 9 weeks I was learning ethical hacking, but I decided to switch to Python this 9 weeks, as I told you. And I think that next 9 weeks I'm gonna stick with Python too. I don't think that I'll make a future out of coding, but if I ever did, I figured it'd be pretty useful to know 2 languages, because 2 is better than 1, I'd assume. And it's actually pretty interesting learning how Python works. I already know Java, so might as well. And the end. Overall, it's been a pretty good 9 weeks. I learned a lot of stuff about Python specifically, and I'd recommend learning Python to any CES students that is interested. Thanks for sticking around.